And hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 3 of Los Morales Files, the Morales Files. I'm here with
Rick Morales,
Josh,
Nicole,
and myself, Elijah. And today's topic is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a good one. And y'all will get to know a little bit more about our family and our crazy adventures. So today's topic, we'll be talking about our stories that we encountered over the years of traveling together since 1999 till 2021,
something like that, yeah.
right? So for starters, our first trip was what year?
It was in 1999.
How old were you, Josh?
14.
I was 10.
And I was
11, I think. 11, yeah.
I was 7. I don't remember the trips as well as they do, so
We got the pictures.
yeah, we have pictures and the video.
And the
right?
video.
You want to go ahead and
Well, we were, I remember in 99, your mom and I had planned, and you know what? Because I grew up poor, just, we can talk about it, and mom, they never traveled. And one thing I always wanted to do with you guys was, I want to take you guys, I want to travel. I want you all to experience something that your mother and I never did. So we decided, you know what? Let's go. It's like, all right, let's go. So we took off, and we were going to go to Mount Rushmore. And Mount Rushmore, for those of you who don't know, is in South Dakota. It's on the southwest corner of South Dakota, kind of a little bit in the middle. And so we decided we're going to go up through Colorado, and then we were going to stop and visit Uncle Frank, who was living in Denver at the time, and spend the night there. And then first thing in the morning, we're going to take off and, get to Mount Rushmore. And from Denver to Mount Rushmore, I don't know, maybe 8 hours, 9 hours. It's kind of like from the Valley to Dallas. It's not that far. When you're from Texas, it's like, oh, it's only 4 hours away. Oh my God. People in other states are like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that's like a different world. So, I do the drive to San Antonio all the time, so it's not a biggie for me. So anyway, we go up to Denver, and that's the year that Columbine happened, in 1999. The first mass shooting at a high school where a bunch of kids were killed, and it was just a tragic deal. And I remember taking you guys to the high school, and it was all, crime scene tape everywhere, and there was still police officers there in the parking lot, and they were still investigating the scene. And from Frank's place to the school was, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes away.
wow,
Yeah,
it's
not
pretty
that
close.
far, yeah.
Yeah.
Not that far. Kind of like from Donna to McAllen, so it's really not that far. And so I remember we went there. A few things I remember about the trip. It was the first time you guys saw mountains. And we went up through Carlsbad, and we spent the first night in Roswell, New Mexico.
That's where you bought us that shirt, the "Hug Me, I'm a Little Alien."
Yes, that's the
Yeah,
one.
we went to the Alien Museum.
We went to the Alien Museum.
Yeah.
I remember there are a lot of strange people in that place. And I know about the whole city as a whole. We were there, and this guy started telling us about it, because when we walked in, there was a picture of an alien, that had its guts out and stuff. And so the guy said, oh, well, this is this, and that's the spleen, and this is this, that, and the other, the alien. And well, I figured he probably was, one of the workers there, kind of like a tour guide. And as we walked down and, saying, well, this and that, and the plane crash, the UFO crashed in Corona, outside of Corona, New Mexico. Then it was out, out the stick somewhere, out the mountain somewhere. And then they brought the remains to Roswell, because that's where the Air Force Base is at. And well, back then it was the Army Air Corps. They didn't have the Air Force just yet. And so we, as we kept walking, I asked him, how long you worked here? He says, I don't work here. Oh my God. So I'm like, okay, this guy's a freak. He's a nut, man. He's a nut job. And, he's like, And I told your mom, hey, why don't you guys keep going? Let me talk to this guy over here. So, hey, what is this? And you guys just kept going and started looking and stuff. And I told him, hey, listen, we'll talk later. I'm going to go with my family. Oh, I'll go with you. And I'm like, no, man, go ahead. You stay. Not a problem. So we lost him there, and we took off. We had rented a minivan. I remember that. And we went down to a little restaurant. I forgot. I don't remember the name. It was just a little restaurant. So we get there, and there's like all these freaky looking people, you know, with alien stuff, and like, oh my God. And Mom was like, man, these people take this stuff seriously. And I was like, yeah, yeah.
Part of their culture.
It's part of their deal, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we ate, you know, I think we all had burgers or something. One burger, we cut it in 7 pieces. I think. But no, we had a burger, we cut it up, and everybody ate, and we went back to the hotel, and that was night number 1. And then we get up in the morning and we go to Ruidoso. I don't know if you remember Ruidoso. It's a resort there in New Mexico. Absolutely gorgeous. As you're going up the mountain, there's the Billy the Kid Museum at the very top with the casino. And it's a nice, real nice place. It's a ski resort. And that was just for you guys. You guys were little, like, oh, wow, this is neat, you know. Yeah. We're scared because, you know, as you're going up the mountain, you know, the side of the mountain, it's just a drop, you know, like, I don't know, like 1,000,000 feet or something, just something crazy, you know. You guys were like, oh my God, Dad, you're getting too close to the edge. And you know, that was fun. We get up there and, you know, we walk around and it's cool, you know, it's in June, but it's cool because you're up on the mountain.
Yeah.
And then we go down the other side and then there's a lake. It's like, how's there a lake way up here? So your mom says, let's go to the lake. All right. So we turn and we go, I don't know, a couple of miles up the main drag there. And it's hidden. It's an absolutely gorgeous. Mm-hmm. And whoever sees this, go to Ruidoso and look at the lake, and you'll see that it's just absolutely beautiful. And of course, we had to touch the water. The water was, you know,
freezing.
like 20 degrees or something.
Nice.
And there's people in the water, you know, like these people are nuts. But that was a lot of fun. And so we go down and, you know, we're driving and we go to Albuquerque and we go to Santa Fe. And we, you know, see, you know, Santa Fe, of course, is gorgeous. Albuquerque is not so gorgeous. But we went to downtown Albuquerque.
I was going to ask you, how much was it? How much did it cost to like take us out on the trip to like rent the minivan? Trip. Yeah, because we were gone for how many days?
A week. It was a week to 9 days. It depends. Yeah. The longest was 10 days. Mm-hmm. That's when we went. Well, we did that twice. When we went up to Massachusetts, Maine, Vermont. We went. We'll talk about the Niagara Falls. Anyway, we go up there and we spend the night at Frank's. We go drive around and we see the school, and we went to Golden, Colorado, which is, you know, kind of just absolutely gorgeous. And but we couldn't go to Mount Rushmore because there was a lot of bad storms. Mm-hmm. So we got, you know, speaking of bad storms, we left, and your mom said, I want to go to Kansas. I said, oh, all right. So we get to Pueblo and we head to Kansas, and you leave the mountains and you get into the flatlands, and so the flatlands of Colorado are just as flat as the ones in Kansas. Mm-hmm. And we stop at a little town before we get to Kansas, and there was some skinheads, 2 skinheads, and just like you see on TV, man, ugly guys. And they're looking for trouble. So we pull up, you know, we're family, Texas plates, minivan, you know, you can tell, well, these guys are passing through, and these guys are like, oh boy, got me some. And so we park, we stop at the store, fuel up, you guys go to the bathroom. Mom is in the bathroom, I believe, with Nicole and for sure Isaiah. And the men's bathroom, Josh, you all were taking turns going to the bathroom. And so Josh, he went in first because he's the big brother. And so you're by the door and you're looking out, and I'm filling up, and I see the guys stop, and they stop next to me on the other side, of the pump, and they, just looking at me, not looking, staring at me, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who these guys are, but I could tell they're up to no good. So I fuel up, and back then they didn't have the little thing where you pay with a credit card, there at the pump. You had to actually go inside and pay. So I fuel up, and I'm walking in, and you're standing by the bathroom door, and as I'm fueling up, I see, because I could see the glass, through the glass, and the guy's looking down, and he's, like, well, that's kind of strange. So I walk in, and he's looking down, but I couldn't see you because you're a little kid, you're little.
Yeah.
So as I walk in, I see that he's talking to you, and he's asking you where you're from and what your name was, stuff like that. And of course, so, and you're scared. Your eyes are bigger than 50-cent pieces. They're just like, what the heck? Who's this guy? And so I walk up and say, hey, what's up? And he looks at me, and now he sees the Papa Bear come out in me.
Yeah.
And, that's when I saw the fear in him. Like, oh, okay, this, Dad's not fooling around. And he was there by himself because the other guy was, I don't know what he was doing. So I don't, my focus was, I locked the door, lock it up just in case, they're trying to split it. Me, you guys go in, and they break into the minivan. I walk in, and I see him, and hey, what's up? What are you doing? And he didn't know what to say. And anyway, we had some words, and you were like, what? You were a kid, you're 7 years old. Josh comes out, and you go in, and I tell Josh, stay right here and wait for Mom and wait for Elijah to leave him alone. And he's like, why?
Sounds pretty on par.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what to do.
I'm not a kid. I'm already 12. And so anyway,
For the record, I learned from that experience. Okay.
We'll talk about his 12-year-old when an experience about the one night stand right now. But so we're Mom comes out with Nicole and Isaiah, and so we get in the van, and we take off, and they're following. I'm like, oh boy, and I tell Mom, hey, you know what, these guys, and she's like, okay. I said, but they have a junk old pickup. I said, I think they can keep up with it because of a new minivan. So, I don't like to drive fast, you know me.
Of course.
So I take off, and, before I know it, I'm going about 100 miles an hour in a minivan, and their piece of junk pickup, they can't keep up. So anyway, we end up in Kansas. And right as we walk, I remember, I'll never forget, right as we're driving into Kansas, like 2 miles on the other side of the border, there's a little curve as you go in, and there's a little town there. And there was like a bad accident. Like, people were, it was just bad. It was a bad accident. And you see the volunteer fire department, the police, and it was a small town, it was small, not too many resources. So we go by, and Mom's like, oh my God, we shouldn't have come this way because, and right about that time, we get to a little town, and now we're going south, going towards Texas or Oklahoma, because we're on the panhandle we're going to go to the panhandle of Oklahoma. And we see this cloud formation building. And remember, you got the Rockies, okay? Cold air comes off the Rockies, and then it meets up with a Gulf air, okay? And when they meet, they're like, hey, I don't like you either. So they start fighting, and they make these big storms.
Yeah.
And they cause tornadoes. And of course, Kansas, Oklahoma's, North Texas, tornado alley, man, big time. So before you know it, we have the radio on, and it's before Spotify, Apple, and everything.
No Sirius XM.
No Sirius XM.
No
none of that.
alerts. No nothing.
Nothing.
So we're just listening to country music or whatever they had there, and all of a sudden, beep 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 beep, weather alert, a tornado warning, for county, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. Back then we had a map. There was these things called maps.
A
It was like
paper map.
A paper
Not
map.
a
It was
Google
book.
map.
A
Yeah.
road atlas.
Or MapQuest.
Yeah, no, none of that. And it's an actual map, and we're looking at the counties that we're going to, and that's where the tornado warnings are. Not, watch. It's a warning. That means it's imminent.
coming.
It's
Yeah.
coming. They're coming down, and we could see them. We could see those. I mean, it's now the skies turning.
Green.
It was green.
Yeah,
It
I
was
remember
green.
that.
Yeah.
It was green,
scary.
and it was like, and then it starts raining. Like sheets sideways, wind, and we were going through the grasslands. I remember that, and you could see the grass just yeah. I mean, it was down.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, we're getting some straight line winds, and the van was just rocking.
Yeah.
Thunder, lightning.
The lightning was, I've never seen lightning like that
It
in my
was
my
horrible.
life. It was scary
Cloud
lightning.
to cloud. Just absolutely, it was dark, green, and then it light up, and then, and your mom is scared, and you guys are like, Dad, where is something? And like, we need shelter. Well, there's no shelter. The only shelter were silos.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And so where's the next city? There's a little town called Texoma on the border of Texas and Oklahoma. Literally across the street is Texas, the other side is Oklahoma. That's why it's called Texoma. So we're, just driving as fast as we can safely because the weather was like really, really bad. And we get to Texoma and we kind of outrun the storm just briefly. We get to Texoma. We get an old style motel.
I remember that.
It was
Yeah.
It was bad.
It was bad.
It was bad.
And they
Was
flush
it?
the toilet, the water come out underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't our dinner like vending machine food?
It was
Yeah,
like
right?
donuts and
Donuts.
chips
Yeah, that's what
and
it was.
It was great.
So exactly, it's great. So we get there and they have one room left, and the lady's like, "Well, it needs a little bit of work," and we're like, "It's okay, as long as we have shelter, we're good." And so it had 2 beds, which was good. But I say you flush the toilet, and the water come
there
out
were
underneath.
cigarette
Jeez.
burns on the sheets.
On the sheets,
I remember
yeah.
that. Yeah.
I remember we, there, and of course now it starts raining. It's, just a downpour. And I remember asking the lady, if a tornado comes, oh, well, we have a basement. If it gets close by, we'll call everybody and we'll get in the basement. And if it goes by, well, we're good. It's all right. So we're like, oh my God. And Mom was like, oh my God, we should have never come here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's sweetheart, we're good. We got shelter, we're good. Like, all right. So we get there, and there's a guy in the room next door, and he's sitting outside, and he's got a chair, and he's sitting out there, and he's drinking his beer. And I said, hey, man, tornado's coming. No, not coming. Not from here, these parts. He's going to go that way. He's not going to come this way. You think so? Oh, yeah. Man, sure thing. The guy was right. The tornadoes got a bypass where we were at, and they were maybe 20, 30 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
Never forget that.
I remember him saying that, like when he was growing up, they would watch the tornadoes from his backyard.
Exactly.
And we were
yeah.
like, what?
Turns
We
out,
don't do that in Texas. Like,
No.
we freak out.
it turns out it was Bill Paxton. Right?
You threw a lot on it. So we head on back that day. I mean, that the next morning we come on down and we came back home. I'll never forget that. That was our first trip.
There is a trip that we took to LA. I know we had gone to California, 2 or 3 times?
3 times.
I think it was when Josh went with us, not Junior. We had gone and we wanted to go see LA, and golly, the traffic was terrible. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
That one in New York.
Yeah.
But we went, and I think we stayed at the Hyatt. Was it
We stayed at the Hyatt
Where-
across from the Blues.
Oh,
From the
House of Blues.
House of
House of
Blues.
Yeah.
Blues. So I remember whenever we checked in, you were getting the room, and it was myself, Mom, Isaiah, Nicole. We walk into the elevator from the lobby, and the elevator's closing, and then this guy approaches us, and we stop it, and he comes in, and we're like, what floor? like, what floor is he going on? And he just like looked at us, and we had already pressed the
floor number.
well, yeah, and he's all like, "Oh, I'm going to the same floor as you all," and I was like, right away, I was like 12, but my alarm was going off. Like, okay, this guy is definitely weird. Mm-hmm. So then we go to the 4th floor, and he waits, even though he's in front of us, like to exit first. He waits for all of us to go. So we all go, and I'm like looking at him as we're walking out, and I don't break eye contact with him. And as we wrap around the corner, I'm still looking at him, and he's still in the elevator. And then when Mom and Isaiah get to the room, and Nicole, that's when I start kind of like walking, and I'm just walking backwards, and I'm just keeping my eye on the hall the entire time. And the guy never left the elevator. I don't know if he thought like, oh, okay, maybe he's pretty alert for his age. Yeah, vigilant. Because I remember you always told us every time we go on a family vacation, you had to stay vigilant. You had to always keep your head on a swivel whenever you're pumping gas or getting money from an ATM. You just never know.
Never know. Never know.
Mm-hmm. And he never got off the elevator. And I remember right when you got to the room, we told you, I was like, Dad, there's this weird guy. He came, and you're like, oh, what did he look like? And I told you, and you're like, oh, he's gone now. But y'all remember Dr. Fashion had he had something. There was like some.
It was like an after party or something.
I think Paris Hilton was going with
Justin Timberlake
and Cameron Diaz,
and the place was packed. And it's like, hey, we're here. Oh, okay, come on in. But man, there was like thousands of people, or maybe not thousands, but hundreds of people out there.
I remember you left us in the room, and you and Mom went up to the penthouse, right, to go.
Yeah, we went to the top floor, and you saw, like all the Hollywood Hills and what have you, and like, wow, this is neat.
I think that was in 2005 or 6.
Something like that. Yeah.
No, you need to say what happened in the elevator.
Oh yeah, that was wild.
Oh, when it got stuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, it got stuck, and I mean the place was packed.
There were too many people crammed in the. We were not. Oh no, we were in the elevator.
No,
right? Mom and Dad were.
We were in the elevator.
Okay, but there were too many people.
Too many
crammed.
people. It was cramped, and man, it was like horrible. It was super hot. Of course, people freaking out because it's stuck.
Claustrophobia.
Yeah, and then this guy is probably about 6'4", 6'5", and he opens.
He was like built.
Yeah,
like,
he was on the juice, and everybody's kind of trying to pull the thing on because we're stuck between floors.
Wow.
And
there was the lobby and the first floor.
Yeah.
You guys were. I remember seeing him open the door, and everyone just like rushed out.
Yeah, and people are coming out and stuff, and people, oh my God, I'm freaking out and stuff, and Mom's like,
Mom's like, it's too high. I'm only 4'11".
Yeah. But yeah, I remember that. I remember, we went, we did the Hollywood thing, saw the stars. And
that's right.
That famous Funchi, or I don't know, I forget what they call it, where they have the Oscars, or had the Oscars.
The Chinese theater?
Yeah. The Chinese theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, saw the Michael Jackson guys, and everybody, the Impressionists and all. Yeah, we did the Hollywood Hills. We went up, and then we saw the Hollywood sign. We were right there, the street. Oh, there's a Hollywood sign. It's just a pile of junk at the time, but it's Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And we went to where did we go? We went Malibu. Mm-hmm. We went all over.
I remember
Rodeo Drive.
I remember because Malibu is like one of the wealthiest cities in the country, and I remember when we were driving down the PCH, there were trash cans filled with like computers and stuff like spilling over the trash, and I'm like, why are people throwing their computers? Like, what? I guess that's what they do over there, but they had money. But that was nothing I've ever seen before.
For a month, I need to get rid of it.
That drive was kind of creepy.
Really beautiful drive.
It's really nice, but it's like it's very dangerous drive.
Yeah. Remember we got to that I still have the pictures where we got off. We went down and the water was cold. Mm-hmm. Remember?
Mm-hmm. The jellyfish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, there's jellyfish that look like sperm.
Yeah, like bacon green.
That's the only way I could see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went down
and
there.
it
the water was
smelled
cold.
nasty.
Oh, nasty.
Yeah.
And And then we ate at that restaurant remember, there in,
it's
Oh
beautiful.
yeah.
yeah, that was neat, right on the cliff,
right.
right on the cliff,
Right on the
all
cliff.
glass, yeah. And remember, I was the mayor at the time, and I wanted to go to City Hall there because Clint Eastwood was the mayor at that little town.
I think it was Carmel.
Carmel, and it was Carmel Heights and Carmel, and so we went there. Absolutely gorgeous. I remember that. Gorgeous.
Yeah, really nice.
Pebble Beach was gorgeous. Monterey Bay, was San Francisco. Remember we stayed at the hotel.
We stayed at the Hyatt over there too, right?
We stayed at the Hyatt.
Yeah.
Were you with us?
No, Junior
he was
was.
there.
Oh no, Junior was with us.
It was Junior.
Because I
Okay.
remember y'all went and got like clam chowder in a bowl or something, a
It
bowl
was
of bread.
A bowl of bread, yeah.
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 Well, that night there was a fire, right, in that
In the
hotel that we were
hotel.
staying
Oh
at.
my
It was
God.
bad.
I remember, it was July 4th. I remember we were at the Equinox up on top.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the thing would spin, the whole restaurant would spin.
9/11 had happened September, and then we went in July.
Yeah.
So
Just a few months
we were
later.
still kind of a little shaky,
Yeah, everybody
things
was
were
still-
still alert, a little.
So we
alert.
get there and we go eat, and then it's like 3 a.m, and then beep 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 beep, evacuate, fire. And
Yeah.
what the heck? We have to evacuate. Oh man! And we're like, I don't know, 9-10 stories high, and it's 2-3 in, and so gotta go. So the elevator was not too far away from our room. So we're going, and Mom's like, you gotta get the coats. It's cold outside. I'm like, okay, well, y'all keep going. I'll go to the room, get the coats. And we're mainly worried about Isaiah because, Isaiah, if he gets a little sick, he's not good. So we get up there and we come down. And you guys get down first, obviously. And I'll never forget, I'm coming down with the coats. And there's, as you're going down the floor, down the stairs, there's a lady looks down and sees her husband, and she's like, I think the guy's name was Harold or Harry or something. Harry, is that you? And he's looking up. He's, yeah, hi. Why'd you leave me in the room? Well, they said to get out. Everybody was just laughing. I mean, everybody was just cracking up, man. We couldn't believe
He left his
He
wife
left-
behind.
the room. And she's like, well, he said to get out. Oh my God. Everybody, I swear to you, everybody that heard that could not stop laughing.
Oh man, that's
And so anyway, we
hilarious.
go down and, we're outside, and, somebody had left the iron on and triggered an alarm, and smoke detector, whatever. And so now everybody's going up to the room, and of course, you got a few hundred people with like 4 elevators, and Mom's like, let them all go. We're going to stay here, standing up. So we go back up, and then as we get in the room, a guy with a Middle Eastern
Yeah.
accent comes on and says, do not worry. Anything is fine. Go back to sleep. Do not worry.
He was like, go back to sleep, and we all look at each other like, what?
Yeah.
None of us, I swear to you, I bet you nobody in that whole place slept. I'm not talking about our room, I'm talking about the whole hotel slept that night.
He was doing that to troll everyone. I
Oh
guarantee
my
it.
God. It was like, do not
One thing I
worry.
remember about all the people going down evacuating was like they all had their like Gucci bags and like
Oh.
everything, like all their shopping bags, and
Yeah,
here
that's
we
it.
are just like jacket and our PJs.
That's it, man. We didn't have
That's all.
anything.
We
have
didn't take our
anything.
clothes. We didn't take a suitcase. Nothing like that.
I remember we had the room and we had the clock there at the Fisherman's Wharf, and we'd opened it, and it was right there. It was the best room. I remember David Starr saying, "You gotta stay there." I said, "All right." So, remember another time we went to Niagara Falls, and we were like, "Man, we're gonna go to Niagara Falls." And so we were all excited, and we go to Niagara Falls. And we cross to Canada, and we're in Niagara Falls over there, and you see the falls and you feel the water, sprinklets or whatever. It's kind of windy, and we're like, oh my God, this is great, And so we get there, and we go to the store, and your mom wanted to get, I don't know, souvenirs,
Yeah.
whatever. And so we're all in there, and we're in the Canadian side, and like, oh, let's take this and let's take that, and a little shirt and, little keychain or whatever it was. And we're over there, and, your mom always complained that, man, everywhere we go, somebody knows you. And I can't take you anywhere because everybody knows you. I said, all right. So we're in Niagara Falls on the Canadian side and in the store. Mayor, how you doing, Mayor? And she loses it. It's like, oh my God. Literally, she got upset. She was so mad. And they were from Edinburgh. Hey, Mayor, how are you? Like, oh my God. I said, man, I was doing great, And so, she's over there paying, and she, she takes you guys, and, we take off and all. And I remember that. That was so neat.
Now that Nicole had mentioned earlier about 9/11, we had actually gone to
that day, that trip.
We had gone to New York, right? We
Yeah.
went to New York. We went to New York City
In June of 2000. June or
June.
July?
Yeah, June of 2001,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I remember you were like, "Oh yeah, look, there's the Twin Towers."
We drove on that street.
Yeah,
I drove
Because I
right by
looked
it.
up and I was like, oh my God, I'm
Yeah,
dizzy.
you couldn't
Yeah.
see. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, we're there. We went to Battery Park, which is, that's where everybody went.
I could have sworn we saw them filming Spider-Man. You remember there was like a movie set going on?
I don't
There
remember
was
that.
like
There was a movie set.
There was a movie
Huh.
set, and I was like, around that time, they had to have been filming Spider-Man. I'm
It
like
could have
more
been.
than positive.
Yeah.
We went to
Times Square.
Times Square.
Times Square.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where TRL was.
Yes.
Remember?
Yeah,
We're like, oh my God, TRL, and we
That
saw
stands
it.
for Total Request Live.
Well, who was the host?
Carson Daly.
Yeah,
Carson
Carson
Daly.
Daly. And I remember we would see it all the time on TV, and then we drove by it, and I'm like, that's it. Like it's just a
Yeah.
window,
Yeah,
two
just
stories
the
up.
window.
Just a window.
Like 2 stories up, but
Yeah, it was on the second floor. Like, oh, that's it. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a window claiming this is coming from the guy who's like, oh my God. Dad's driving like 75 miles an hour. My dad, what's going on? That rock. It's on Jay Leno. You remember that?
It
I think
was.
we were like, I don't know, in Monument Valley or
Yeah, we're
somewhere
Monument
around
Valley
that
in
area.
Arizona, yeah.
And he
I
was like,
saw
oh
it.
my God. And we were freaking out, like, what? That rock was on Jay Leno.
Yeah, well, it was like a few days before we went on the trip, and it was something like, well, what was the thing? It was like some sort of thing where things that look like him. And that was one of them.
Oh, yeah, because it had like the chin or
Yeah.
something.
We stopped at the Indian reservation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There in Monument Valley. I remember you bought your arrow there.
Yeah.
And you tried to use it on us.
He was playing Cupid. Yeah. But we went and we saw the Twin Towers. A few months later, they came down.
It's really sad.
But we went to the Grand Canyon, and we went to Sedona. We went to Monument Valley. All those places just absolutely gorgeous.
We went to New Orleans, and I remember you're like, oh yeah, everyone always talks about Bourbon Street.
Well, your mom said, I want to go to Bourbon Street. All right, well, we'll go. So she, Hyatt on Bourbon Street, she had ordered the hotel there. Like, I think we're going to stay like 3 nights.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, no, we did not stay, not even 1 minute.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
like a lot of witchcraft and voodoo stuff,
Yeah.
like everywhere throughout that
City.
city.
These strip joints right down the street. Like, no, we're
Yeah.
not staying. We're getting out of here.
And then we went in the summer, right? It was like June or July.
Mhm.
And then when did Hurricane Katrina happen?
Right after that,
Right.
September. August, September.
Yeah.
Man, we
Right
went to
after.
Vegas, and they had like record floods after we left. Yeah.
It's like everywhere we go, something happens.
Yeah.
A few months
Well,
later.
Oh, well, like this last time when I went up to went up to Montana, and I went to Yellowstone. As soon as I got back, I passed through there like on a Thursday, and like Saturday, the road I was on just
Collapsed, right?
collapsed, disappeared.
It's like a sinkhole or something.
No, there was a lot of snow, and
Oh.
so it was melting. So it was
runoff or
the runoff, and so it's just the side of a mountain, and
Yeah.
and it's too much water, and so you have the street up here, and the dirt here, the water's going, and it starts eating away at the dirt. Next thing you know, it's gone.
Well, was it the first or second time we went to California and then they had like the record-breaking
The fires.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was the second time. Yeah, the Santa Ana fires, which just a few months ago, all those houses were burned. But prior to that, yeah, we were there and they had like record. I mean, like I don't know, it's crazy.
I know we've been to Florida too, but I don't think anything happened in Florida.
No. We came through a hurricane. That time it was 2001. The hurricane was coming up to the Gulf of Mexico, and we were coming from New York or D.C. Remember, we stopped in D.C. and we went there. We saw the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, the Magna Carta, all that good stuff. I remember we're the only Hispanic kids there. All the others were Indian and American, little gringo kids. And
was it in D.C. where you and Nicole witnessed the hostage?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, so that's y'all's story. I mean, I was in the car, I was probably asleep, or the van, so y'all need a...
Going down the road and saw this black guy leaning over, had something in the back of the head of an elderly white man.
He was the driver.
He was a driver.
The elderly white man.
Yeah, and so we're like, hey man, we're seeing this, and I've never seen anything like that before. And it looked very sketchy. And so we call the cops, and then there's helicopters.
Flying everywhere, right?
Flying everywhere. There's cops everywhere. And then the lady's like, well, can you get really close and see what kind of gun it is? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And like, yeah, I'm like, no, I'm not going to. I've got my family. What's wrong with you? I'm not going to. It's like, oh my God, people are crazy.
It was scary because the passenger was just leaning over towards the driver, and like you could see like it looked like,
all right, show us,
what
show
it,
us how
I'm not gonna show it. You could see what it was, and the passenger was wearing a cap, and the driver was just like very still like they were both still, like no one was moving or anything, and like who leans like that for a long time, and so I don't know if there was something wrong with the cell service or what, but my dad was having a hard time communicating with the dispatcher, like everything that was going on. So he handed me the phone, and I was talking to the dispatcher and just kind of like telling her like what I saw, what was going on. And then like all of a sudden you see like so many cops just like surrounding, and then you see helicopters. Like it was like this huge scene. And then, I don't know, eventually they told us to go to the police station to file a report. And so we went to the police station and filed the report. And I don't remember exactly what the situation was, but I guess they had pulled that car over and they said, like, everything was fine.
Yeah.
They didn't see anything or find anything.
Yeah, and your ID, made a report, signed it,
And you never heard anything back?
Never heard anything. Gave her my phone number, address, everything.
It was very sketchy.
Yeah, it was very sketchy, big time. And so I remember that. We went to Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember when they had the parade? They were at the.
It was Memorial Day.
Memorial
Yeah.
Day. Yeah.
They had the reenactment, right?
The reenactment going on, and then. You remember we went to the bridge where the Civil War, where the Revolutionary War started. I forgot the name of that bridge. Where the first shots were fired, and Paul Revere, and the Boston Tea Party, and we went and we this is where it started here. We took the little tour.
I remember that tour. It was really fun.
I forgot the name of that bridge. I forgot. Anyway, I'm forgetting my American history, but we went there and we went to the cemeteries. Remember, we saw some of those the Emerson.
You took us to that other cemetery with the Forgotten Soldier, or not the Forgotten Soldier, the
tomb.
The tomb.
Yeah, there in Arlington Cemetery.
Yeah.
We saw the changing of the colors. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That was.
Changing of the colors or changing of the guards?
Changing of the guard.
Yeah.
Changing of the guard. And we're there, and they paid taps, and it was just really, really, I mean, like, whoa.
was like very like honorable.
Yeah.
You know, very very honorable.
I will say that Gettysburg, I just felt really creepy. Like the
yeah.
whole town, it just felt
Everything.
You just
like
felt
you just
death.
felt, yeah. Like I don't think I would ever want to go back there.
You know what I never forget in Gettysburg is the side of the buildings. It still had the
Bullet.
the bullets, the musket bullets or whatever you call
Mm-hmm.
those. Like, what the heck, man? That was incredible.
I remember I joked with Josh on that trip. I was like, imagine we see some ghosts just walking by because apparently it's super haunted,
It's
right?
haunted.
Oh, the
Yeah.
whole place is haunted. Yeah.
You just feel it in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, we did the tour. Remember we went on that bus tour and
Mhm.
or a van, I don't know what it was, and like, wow, check this out, man. This is awesome. This is neat.
You know, every time our parents took us on a family vacation, it was never to relax. It was all about history, all about, you know,
National
seeing the
parks.
national parks,
Yeah.
things like that. And one time they took us to Hershey, Pennsylvania. Oh my God, I loved it because they had like a big old amusement park. We got to see how the Hershey chocolates were made.
Yeah.
I remember them saying that whenever they make the chocolate, and by the time it gets down to the Rio Grande Valley, it's like already 6 months old,
Yeah.
pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, it still
You know,
tastes
you can
amazing.
order them, and you know they'll make them like one day, and you'll get it like 3 or 4 days later.
Really?
Yeah, you can order it. Yeah, with like a birthday cake type of deal or whatever, or just because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was definitely my highlight whenever I was young.
Yeah, I remember the lamppost where Hershey's Kisses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to Hershey, Pennsylvania.
There was another time we went to Yellowstone and we had stopped at that zoo. It was like a drive-through zoo where they had like wolves and bears
Yeah.
and buffalo.
I
Yeah,
went
I
back
remember
there.
that.
Yeah.
I was there.
Oh yeah, what's it called? Do you remember?
Something reserve or something. They have the bears and they have the wolves. Yeah, that
That's
trip was
different.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Yellowstone. That was very nice. We saw Old Faithful. Remember the geysers?
Mm.
Yeah.
Remember those bears would just come up to your window?
Yeah.
They'd just like
Yeah.
press against. And
I have
press,
videos of them.
press against your window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
You
was
have
like,
to stop and wait for them to pass through. Yeah.
There's so many things that we've done as a family, you know. And your mother and I, our biggest thing was, we don't want to take you to you know, see Disneyland or Disney World or whatever. Like, what are you gonna do? It's you know, no. You're gonna go get on a ride, stand for an hour to ride an hour for 5 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever it is, and you're gonna spend, you know, $50 for a Coke and $35 for a half a sandwich or something. You know, I never wanted that for you guys. I wanted you guys to learn things that you saw in a book, that you read in a book. You could say, I've been there, I've seen that, I've experienced that. Those are you know the way I am. I love history. I love all of those things. And so I wanted our kids, our kids, to be, when they get older, they could say, man, I remember I went there. I saw that place. I experienced that.
I know one thing I remember was a petrified forest.
Yeah.
Remember we drove through there? Mm-hmm. And man, it was like that whole area too. Where's that in?
That's in Arizona.
Arizona, right? Man, that whole place had a weird feel. Had a weird
Johnson,
vibe.
Winslow, Arizona. The Eagles have a song. They mention Winslow, Arizona. It's out there, about 30 miles from Winslow, Arizona, and that's where we went to the crater.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah,
what
I
I remember.
remember, I
the
remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the crater where the big, meteor hit, and it's massive. It's just huge, and that was a lot of fun. I wanted you all to see that and experience that. You know, those was important for us, so that way you guys could experience that. And remember your mom and I talking about it. Yeah, we want to take the kids so they can learn. We want them to see the world, but learn at the same time.
You know, on our vacations, we not only did we like have fun in the vans and stuff, or the road trips, but we also did see a lot of weird things. I know you had mentioned you had seen a few weird things. Was it in Vermont or Maine?
I think it was in Vermont. Like we were driving at night,
Yeah.
and I could have sworn I saw like a UFO, like in the shape of like a trapezoid, and in each corner it had like lights, and it was just like slowly just like hovering like right above us, and it's like went like right over us.
I remember we couldn't find a hotel that night, right? And
Yeah.
you were driving like it was like midnight, maybe 1 a.m.
It was
and
late.
You were
It
driving
was
through
late.
the mountains.
We're driving to it was called the Green Mountains in Vermont, and absolutely gorgeous. The problem was there was so many deer. I mean, deer was everywhere, and our biggest fear was hitting a deer, because they get spooked, and they're animals, and we're in their territory, and
Yeah.
so yeah, we ended up spending the night in New Hampshire. We spent the night there. Some hotel your mom. She said, there's a little town here. I don't know, like 5,000 people or something. And we found a hotel. We spent the night. Remember that day I drove, it felt like, 100 hours, but it was like 17 hours just
Damn.
driving. It was, I was exhausted.
There was even a few hotels that we stayed at where we couldn't even stay one night, right?
Yeah.
What where was that one hotel where we had to leave?
It was in Comfort, Texas.
Comfort, Texas.
Yeah.
Nothing comfort about it though.
Nothing good about it. We're driving back from California, and your mom wanted to go get to San Antonio. I said, all right, we'll go. I was dead tired. She was asleep. And I said, yeah, I just can't. I mean, I was falling asleep. And so I said, hey, honey, we're going to have to stop. She said, why? We still have an hour to go. I said, no, I can't drive anymore. All right. So we pull into the hotel. It's still there because every once in a while I pass it. It's like, hey, I remember that place. And we get there, and there was this black spot on the wall. It was kind of like black red, kind of like this. And so we get there, it's like, what the heck? So we're all exhausted. We're all lying down. 2 beds. And I think you and Josh like to sleep on the floor.
I was
No.
on the floor
You were
that
on the
night.
floor.
No,
Yeah.
you forced me on the floor.
Yeah. And I was just dead tired. And so we're lying down, and man, that room was heavy. It was a heavy presence in there. It's just not a good feeling. So anyway, there, and I'm like, oh boy, all right. So as we go to bed, and lights out, and it's probably 2:30, 3 in the morning, and something gets in the bed with your mom and I, and we felt the bed moving. So first one we thought, you or Isaiah,
Yeah.
mainly Isaiah. Isaiah always wanted to sleep with us. And so I was like, oh man, Isaiah's coming. And, and I was exhausted. And my mom's like, Isaiah, move over here. So I forgot what she said. And I'm like, I get up and I snap at Isaiah. There is no Isaiah. Isaiah's in the other bed. And everybody's asleep. And I said, it's not Isaiah. She's like, what do you mean? I said, no. She's like, no, you felt the bed move. I said, no, the bed moved. When somebody gets the whole...
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God. And time to go.
Yeah.
And let's go. And you're like, what? I'm like, time to go. Gotta go. Why? We're gonna go. And we took off.
Did you talk to the desk clerk and say
No.
what's wrong with this
No, we had
room?
already paid. And you know what? I did. I went back and said, hey man, there's something in that room. I was like, oh yeah, somebody was killed there.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah, I could see in the wall, oh, they're supposed to come and clean it or whatever. They tried, and like, what the heck? And I remember your mom was like, oh, no, we're out of here. I didn't want a refund. I just wanted to just get out of there. Because a lot of times, those kind of things, they follow you. Mm-hmm. And especially they feel comfortable. Obviously, they felt comfortable enough to, try to get in bed. And it's like, took off.
There was a time, so our mother had passed away, and a year later, we wanted to go walk the Guadalupe Mountains here in Texas.
That was one of her goals.
Yeah, and our sister actually planned the whole trip. It was a really fun trip. Thank you, Nicole.
Great trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good trip.
Oh man.
Do you want me to set it up?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. So, the Guadalupe Mountain, it's a park in West Texas, and so if you've ever been to West Texas, there's not a lot out there. There's not a lot of nice hotels to stay at or anything. So, you kind of have to plan your trip. So, I find this hotel. It's kind of like I don't know. It's not like a Holiday Inn or anything like that. It's the rooms are on the second floor, and on the first floor there's a little restaurant and gift shop. So that was the closest hotel I could find to where we didn't have to drive 10 hours to get closer to the park. So I think from that hotel to the park it was, I don't know, maybe like an hour or two away. So I find this hotel. It's cute, but at night it's really, really creepy. And so my husband and I are in one room. Josh and Elijah are in another room, and Isaiah and my dad are in another room. So me, my husband, Josh, and Elijah, the night before, so the night we stayed there, we are in my room, and I can't remember. We were all talking, and we were just like, oh, we wish our mom was here, because it was the 1 year anniversary of her passing. So we were all talking about our mom, and oh, we miss her. We wish she was here. She would have loved this. And so we're talking, and then the TV, it either turns off or it turns on. I can't remember. Do you guys remember if the TV was on or off?
I think it turned on.
Turned on.
Yeah, because we were all sitting in silence. Well, not sitting in silence, but we're all talking. Kind of like how we are now.
Yeah. So we just kind of look at each other like, okay, that's creepy. That's weird. Like, what is this? Like, what just happened? And, none of us had the remote. Like, we were all in our conversation. So that was kind of like the first sign that things were just kind of weird with that place. And I know that Elijah and Josh had their own encounter, and my dad did too. So I'll let them share what they went through.
So my brother and I, we were staying in a room at the end of the hallway, and he was on one bed. It was like twin beds, right? So he was on one bed and I was on another, and we could not get comfortable like at all. Like it was just.
It felt like something was watching you.
It felt like something was watching us. It felt heavy, and we're like, "Damn, man! Like, what is it?" So we started going around, and I tried to channel my energy, because I feel like sometimes I have like this sixth sense where some things can feel off, and I go up to this statue, and it's like a sleeping Mexican, right? And it's like positioned with its knees up to its face, and its hands are in its, or like the head is resting on the hands, and it has like the big old sombrero like around on top of his head. And so I look at it, and right when I get close, I just get instant chills, and I'm like, all right, Josh, that's it. Move it.
So I move it out of the room, and then like the whole vibe was different.
It was different. It changed. It felt lighter. Like the room got brighter. There was birds chirping. But right when he moved it, it just completely changed, and we were able to go to sleep after that. Because as you all know, if y'all watched episode 2, we grew up in a haunted house, so that was like nothing. But that time, it was like a different energy than the house that we grew up in. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what you and Isaiah experienced.
Isaiah couldn't sleep. He was not comfortable there at all, and I couldn't sleep either. It was something about that place, and it's kind of like a bed and breakfast. It was on top of a business. Like a little hotel, a little diner type of thing. Mm-hmm. They had a good breakfast, I remember.
Yeah, the breakfast really was good.
Yeah, we had gone to Marfa. Remember we saw the Marfa lights and stuff. I didn't see anything, but they were there.
We met that celebrity. What was his name?
Oh, Kyle
Channing, I think.
Kyle.
Oh, what's his name?
It's Kyle something.
He
was go ahead.
Let me check.
From Friday Night Lights, he was the main coach from Friday Night Lights. It was in Van Horn, right?
Van Horn,
when we
yeah.
saw him
At the old hotel.
at
We
the
were
old
staying-
hotel. Yeah, so
They were filming something there.
No, he was going
Yeah, they were
to.
He
go
was
film or
he was
something.
going to California.
Yeah, he was going to California on his
Right.
motorcycle.
On his motorcycle.
Yeah.
He was from Austin, I think, or lived in Austin. Or
Something Springs,
Yeah, Dripping Springs.
Dripping Springs.
Kyle Chandler.
Kyle
There we go.
Chandler,
Gotcha.
awesome guy. So I remember we walk into the restaurant and I look and he looks up at me and I look up at him and I was like, oh snap, we got a celebrity in the building. So then I start telling my brothers or our family, I'm like, oh my god, look, I think that's the celebrity, and we're like, oh wow, that's cool. Obviously, we didn't go up to him. We weren't like, oh my god, being
Yeah.
annoying and stuff. But it just so happens that they sat us right next to him. And he was there chilling. I think he was like reading a book or
He was watching the Oscars.
he was watching the Oscars. Yeah, I remember.
The Oscars was
Yeah.
on the bar of the restaurant.
Yeah.
He was
And-
watching it.
and-
He was eating a salad and drinking a glass of red wine.
And my dad leans over. He's like, "Hey, you that famous guy?" We're like, "Oh my god."
Because we were kind of talking, like whispering, like, "Oh, is that him?" Because
Yeah.
my husband, he loves that show, Friday Night Lights, and he got me into it. But it had been years since I watched that show, and so he asked me. He was like, "Is that him?" Like, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I think that is him." And then so we were all kind of talking amongst each other, and then of course my dad is the one to break the ice.
Yeah, and
Hey, what?
yeah, he's like, "You that famous guy?" And I remember he pointed to the TV. He's like, "No, the famous people are on there, and they're at the Oscars." And then my dad offered to buy him dinner, right?
Yeah. And of course, the first one he came to was Isaiah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he really liked Isaiah. And he ended up buying us dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he left us a note.
You
Yeah, I
left us a
have
note?
the
You
note.
still have the note?
I have it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Really nice.
very nice celebrity, really awesome guy, and it was just so random, right?
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
bump into him, and Van Horn has like how many people?
Like
popular-
7.
There's nothing out there.
There's
It's just like
nothing,
of all
nothing.
places, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was that was a good experience. Went
Yeah.
up there. We went to that other little town.
I don't know.
Langtree.
Oh, okay.
The observatory was pretty cool
The
too.
observatory
was it
really
McDonald's Observatory or something?
nice. Yeah,
Right.
McDonald.
I remember we asked the guy, "Have you ever seen UFOs out here?" He's like, "No, I've never seen anything weird or
Yeah.
strange." I'm like, "Dude, look all around us. You mean to tell us you've never seen anything strange?"
I love the drive going up the.
Oh hell no!
I was
That
not for that
scary.
drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was neat. I loved it.
That
I
drive was
remember we were in that black Escalade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember I got pulled over and got a ticket or a warning? I think I got a warning.
Yeah, you were going like 150 and
Yeah. I wasn't going 150. I was going like 130. You know.
yeah, you were going pretty fast.
Yeah.
Oh, it was out there where the random like Gucci store.
The Pandora.
Oh, that's
or-
Marfa. Prada.
Yeah,
Prada.
Prada. There we
Prada.
go.
They had a random Prada
That's
store.
Marfa.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
hey, we're gonna go to the Prada store. I'm like, what? Out here? What do you mean Prada? So we ended up driving, I don't know, like 20 miles or something, and it's literally out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And pulled up, and there it is.
Random but cool.
You know, we were there, and then remember those guys pulled up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of sketchy. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I was packing. I'm like, well, alrighty,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's gonna happen now.
You know what was also like sketchy was whenever we went to Area 51.
Oh yeah,
That was
Oh,
weird.
yeah.
And the military approached you, right?
yeah,
They pulled you over.
yeah. Hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get back home.
We were trying to get as close as we could,
Yeah,
and he's
that's
like,
it.
"No, you guys got to get
You
out of
gotta
here.
get outta
You
here."
got to get out of here. You're no." So we
Yeah,
turned.
They were
around.
cool about it. You know, they probably see that every day. You know, a bunch of people. They're like, I'm gonna come out here and look. They're gonna look for ET. Yeah, again, those are things that I remember as a family we experienced that, and that was a lot of fun.
So to finish up this episode for today, we're gonna leave you on a good, pretty interesting story that our parents actually encountered here in the valley.
Okay, well, it was January. It was at night. It was at night. It was a foggy, drizzly night. We had gone to Toscafinos in Brownsville, and we're coming back home. And we had just moved to Harlingen. We had just bought a house there maybe 6 months, or we had moved in, and 7 months, and we're driving home, and we had just passed Rancho Viejo, and then there's Highway 100, and on Highway 100 there's an overpass, and as we're approaching the overpass, on the left-hand side, as you're coming from Brownsville going towards San Benito in Harlingen, there's a warehouse, and the guy that we bought our house from used to own the Miller beer distribution, and that was one of the warehouses he had. And so I said, "Look, honey, that's Gordy's beer place." And she's like, "Oh, really? Yeah." So we're going, and you travel maybe a quarter of a mile, and then there's another little overpass, and we're coming up to that overpass, and we see at a distance where 77 and 77 kind of, Business 77 and Highway 77 split, we see this brilliant light, kind of like a turquoise light, just brilliant. And boom, lights go out, and almost instantly, the lights are going off, and we hear this current come over the vehicle. Zip. Didn't think anything of it. Oh, lights are out. So as we're approaching, I mean, it's only about a mile, maybe a mile and a half, before now you take the curve and you're going towards on Business 77.
Yeah.
And Business 77 and the expressway split. So I tell Mom, call Nicole and see if there's light at the house. She said, all right. So she picks up the phone, she calls. Hey, Nicole, we have light there? Oh, yeah, we have light. Now, you have to understand, everything's dark. Can't see. Drizzly, rainy, no light. Only the headlights of our car and the DPS trooper that's next to us. And we're like, man, we should be getting to Harlingen here pretty soon. Because now it's been, a few, it's like, hey, can't see light. Everything's dark. So, we are driving, and we're coming up to Highway 100 again. And we see Gordy's warehouse again. And I said, didn't we pass that earlier? And your mom freaks out. She's like, oh my God. Something just happened. Something happened. And she's freaking out. She's like, oh my God, we're in a time warp, or what happened? So basically, for people, the camera, we were here, and we should have been here, okay? But now we're back here. So we lost about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. Don't know what happened. Cannot explain it. I cannot explain what happened, how it happened. Nothing. Can't explain it.
You weren't drinking.
And
Nothing.
people ask me, were you drunk? I said, I don't drink. I've never drank in my life. I don't do drugs. I was as sober as, and it was early. It was maybe like 9 o'clock. So it was, it wasn't like, oh my God, I was tired. And it would have been both of us tired. And the DPS trooper that was next to us, whose car was kind of like, what the heck? Because he experienced the same thing we did.
And it was just your two cars?
No, there was another car there. But he was, everybody I know freaked out.
Were you in the middle lane, fast lane?
We're in the fast lane.
You're in the fast lane, and the DPS trooper
Was in the slow lane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And again, when I tell the story, of course, first thing is like, whatever, yeah, whatever. You got confused or something, whatever. And you know what? If I didn't know me, I would say, yeah, they're probably right, I can't explain what happened. I know that we went home and got on the computer, and it happens all over the world, to people see the exact same light and have the exact same experience. I was reading about this one it happened to a couple in Japan. And they explained the same thing, like, oh my God. I cannot explain it. I can only tell you what happened. And it was one thing, it was just me, but it was your mother and I.
Yeah.
We went through this together. And we just could not believe what the heck just happened.
This was in 2012 or 2011?
When he graduated.
Yeah, it was I graduated 2010.
So in 2011, it was January 2011.
And did you ever go back and try and
Yeah, and
Like
we had heard some stories about that location and stuff like that, and I've gone through there probably 150 times now. You go through there all the time because you live nearby. I don't know what happened. I have no idea. I lost. Your mother and I lost 4 minutes.
If that DPS trooper ever sees this, reach out to us.
Yeah, reach out to us.
We'll get you on here.
Yeah.
But really quick, there's my dad had taken a solo trip to Sedona, right? Sedona, and over there he went and how did you find that place where they check your aura?
Well, I've been reading some things about auras and things of that nature, and your mom had mentioned that before she had passed away, and so I was driving. Sedona is absolutely gorgeous. I recommend everybody go spend some time in Sedona. It's absolutely beautiful. So we went to Sedona. I went to Sedona, but we had gone to Sedona as a family. Mm-hmm. Now I'm there, and I remember your mom saying, "Man, this is beautiful." So I went there, gorgeous. And as I'm going to the hotel, I hide.
Yeah,
Hide,
of course.
And so I pass the shop and it says auras, or something about auras. And I was like, I'm going to come tomorrow because it's kind of late. They had already closed. So get up in the morning, I go and I have breakfast at a Mexican restaurant. And now it's, whatever. 10:30, 11 o'clock. I went back to the hotel, got all my stuff, and I said I want to stop by that place. And so I go by and stop, and the lady, there's a lady there, and she was talking to some other people there, and I said, hey, I saw the aura thing, how does that work? She said, well, we have this machine, and we take a picture, and she kind of explains it to her. Oh, okay. You want the aura? I said, yeah. I said, all right. So I go and I do the aura thing. And she gets the picture. And she's like freaking out. Oh my God. Oh, I'm like, oh man, did I break the machine or what? I don't know what happened. She's, totally just losing it. So she picks up the phone and she's calling the owner. And she said, I got one. He's here, and I'm like, what you get? Well, what kind of person am I? I don't know. It wasn't me. It wasn't him. And so she's like, sir, do you know? She can't talk, and she's like super excited, and I was like, hey, what's going on? And it's like, look, you see this line? Less than 1% of the people have this line. It means that you have a connection to the other side and to our world, and you don't see that. And I have the owner, and so the lady, she was, I don't know, might have been maybe like in her 80s, and she's on speakerphone, and she's like, sir, I've been in this, doing this for I don't know how many years. She said, and you're, I don't know, forgot number 7 or 12 or whatever. In all the years that I've done this, there's only been like a handful of people, and you're one of them. She said, how do you feel? I'm like, I just ate and feel good. I'm all right, And she asked me a very odd question. She said, do you ever get visited from the other side? And I said, man, have a good day.
And that's where we're going to leave off on.
Yeah.
Now we have a picture.
We do have a picture. We'll put it on the actual video. But I think that's a great way to end it. Do you have anything to add?
No, listen, this is awesome. I love that you guys, you thought of this and you got them to say yes. What a great experience. As a dad, that be able to talk to my kids like this, man, that is, I wish every parent could have this experience and have a great relationship with their kids the way I have with my kids. And people that don't know, I love my kids love me, and we're super close. I mean, we're tight knit. That's one thing. Their mother died. We always wanted to be a tight knit family, and when they were little. Now, Josh's going to be 40. Nicole's going to be 37 next week, and Elijah's 32, going to be 33 next month. The seeds that we planted those many years ago, they're bearing fruit, and here it is. And we're a close-knit family, something that we always wanted.
Josh, do you have anything to say?
No, just that this has been very fun. Very fun. Listening to these stories, learning things about you, and just, going back and just reminiscing about these things has been very good. And I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, I definitely recommend, even if just getting your family together, just to like share, reminisce and share memories. It's, we've talked about losing our moms, so it's great to get together as a family, share those memories and those experiences now, because you never know what's going to happen or anything. And I wish I'm sure we all wish that our mom was here too, so that she could
Experience this also.
yeah. So I definitely recommend you guys sharing your stories, and even if you don't post on YouTube or anything like that, just sharing and having to cherish that forever is good.
I hate this experience.
I hated it.
No, I mean, I love this experience. I always told our family every time we get together that everything that we've gone through together, I think it would really resonate with a lot of people out there. So to reiterate what my sister said, y'all should get together as a family and just, have an open discussion. And until next time, this concludes episode 3 of the Morales Files. Thank you all. Have a great day.
All right, that was good.
Yeah. Damn, Nicole.
What?
Did good. The way you explained that story,